Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Menopause Made Easy, where we talk about all things midlife, metabolism, and making this stage of our life the most powerful yet. And I'm Tanya, your guide to taking the confusion out of menopause and replacing it with clarity, confidence, and practical tools that actually work. Okay, so today we're going to dive into a hot topic that I keep getting asked about, and that is the carnivore diet, which means meat eating, the carnivore diet, and gut health, because you know that our gut talks to our brain, right? And this loop goes around and around, and it really influences much of what we do during the day, our mood, our energy, our cravings, and we really want to have good gut health for postmenopausal women, and actually any stage of life. All right. But I just focus on this menopausal journey. So, questions about the carnivore diet. Is it safe? Can it really help with bloating, brain fog, or stubborn belly fat? And what the heck do I eat if I am not eating plants? All right. So, let's break this down, and then I'm going to give you some really practical tips and what a day of carnivore would look like, and just my interpretation from all the literature that I have been reading. All right, so why does golf? Oh my goodness, Tanya, my words today. Why gut health matters after menopause. All right, so remember we have this menopausal transition, perimenopause. Menopause is that day that menopause is the day after 1 year of no periods. It's one day long. So you go from perimenopause, which could be 8 to 10 years, to menopause one day, to postmenopause the next day, which is how you spend the rest of your life. And that is where I am currently in now. All right. So we've talked about as estrogen declines during and after this menopausal phase, your gut microbiome, which is the collection of bacteria in your digestive tract, can change. And you might notice more bloating, constipation or irregularity, new food sensitivities, and just that general ugh feeling after meals. And this shift isn't just uncomfortable, it impacts everything from mood and metabolism to inflammation and immune health. It's important to look after our gut health. Now, here's the twist for some women. A low fiber, animal based diet, also known as carnivore or carnivore-ish, you can add a little leeway into there, can actually improve these symptoms. What is the carnivore diet? The diet is pretty simple, okay? It's animals only, animal foods only. That's meat, fish, eggs, and sometimes dairy. No vegetables, no fruit, no grains. Think of it like an extreme version of keto, okay? No carbs or plants. Some versions are stricter than others, but many women are trying what I call a keto-ish approach, a more flexible version that includes gut-friendly additions like fermented foods, which we have talked about before, a bit of full-fat plain yogurt, and even a handful of leafy greens now and then. I am not a diet person. I believe in trying different things in your body and feeling what it feels like in your body and pulsing in and out of different things, because our microbiome actually likes change. We also want to eat more in season. So in the summer, it could actually be more challenging just because we've got berries and we have all of our vegetables. And so this could be something that you could do in the fall or winter, when if you are eating according to season, which I'm sure I've talked about, but that you will actually, gravitate more to meat because there are no local berries and lettuce and things like that. All right, so we will get into what a day looks like. The benefits for menopausal women and postmenopausal women, let's talk about some of them here, okay? So fewer gut irritants. No fiber means less bloating for some women. Again, you are N of 1, so you need to look at your body and how it feels. You're also going to be unraveling some social and habitual and hedonistic eating. Okay, so this means less snacking, more stable energy, and less hangry, and less, maybe even less hunger. Oh, just a minute. I got off track here. All right, so back up the bus. We were talking about fewer gut irritants. So no fiber means less bloating. Okay, and if you are sensitive to FODMAPs or lectins, that's lectins, not leptins. We've been talking about leptin. We're talking about lectins. Okay, that is the things found in vegetables. This could be a game changer. I'm going to hold it here for a second, and then I will talk about how you can implement this into your day. All right, my next point was stable blood sugar and fewer cravings. And so protein and fat are super saturating. And this means less snacking, more stable energy, and less hangry, those hangry feelings, and even less hunger. Reduced joint pain or inflammation. Some women report clearer skin, better digestion, less achiness in their body and their joints, possibly due to removing inflammatory plant compounds and especially processed carbohydrates. As you are going through this, this is what I see a lot of times. Women will take out the plant compounds, the fruits, the berries, and the vegetables, and they'll still leave in the processed carbs. You really want to get the processed carbs out first and then look at plants. All right. But again, I just want you to play with this. This is the whole foundation of all the things that I do now is practice and play and see how it feels for you. Our last point is simplicity. Honestly, sometimes it's just nice not to think about what to eat, and carnivore is simple. You're going to eat meat, eggs, fish, done. But there's a flip side. What is the flip side? Let's talk about some concerns. This is why we don't want to do anything, in my opinion, and from listening to many people that I admire in this field, I really believe in pulsing in and pulsing out. And I do know some people that get stuck. I don't know if I want to use the word stuck, but anyway, I'm going to use the word stuck. Get stuck doing one thing over and over. And you know what? I was there for a while with certain things because it does make it easier not to think. But long term, doing carnivore could mean a lack of microbiome diversity. No fiber means less food for your good gut bugs. And over time, this could reduce the diversity of your gut microbiome, which isn't ideal long term. So this is when you could bring in some of those fermented foods. You could bring in some full fat yogurt with some good bacteria, or you could do something where you do Monday to Friday meat and on the weekends be less, focused, like still have meat as your primary, but add in a few things. Again, the important thing is to see how this feels for you. There's transition symptoms. So expect a week or two of adjustment. So you might feel tired, constipated, or even have what is known as the keto flu. And again, my approach, which I have been doing, is just having a look at my meals and seeing, can I upgrade the quality of my meat? Can I get more meat on my plate? What does that start to feel like in my body? So I might look at a meal during the day that consists mostly of meat. And then a couple weeks later, I would do 2 meals a day, just one day during that week. It's actually very challenging. Some of you may be able to just flip automatically and then be done with it. So again, see how you feel. And it can also be socially tricky. All right, no plants, no desserts. Maybe some of you think that's no fun. And it can be really hard to stick with 100% carnivore in the real world. And it can get expensive because a salad at a restaurant versus a steak at a restaurant can be pricey. So again, play with this. How often do you eat at home? Maybe when you go out, you're not as strict, and see how you feel. And you know what's really interesting is when you do this and you are eating, say, carnivore or a cleaned up diet that makes you feel really great, and then you go out, you have a meal, you realize, oh my gosh, how that meal of adding in some carbs or alcohol or whatever it is makes you feel heavy and tired and lethargic. And then you get to make a choice of what your next steps are. So, what are my recommendations? As you probably guessed, I would say start with a carnivore-ish trial period and see how it goes. So, what would you eat? What would you eat? Here is a typical day in a carnivore-ish diet that you could start to implement. And you're aiming for about 120 grams of protein to support lean muscle and metabolism. So, day one would look like this. Your breakfast would be 3 scrambled eggs in ghee or butter or beef tallow, 2 ounces approximately of beef liver. If you're not into liver, maybe you have steak. You have 1 tablespoon of sauerkraut, and you have some collagen in your coffee. Therefore, to start, I'm trying not to say the word so and all right. It's very challenging. You could just start with having collagen in your coffee. Maybe you're not doing that right now. So that would be a first good step. Or adding some scrambled eggs cooked in butter or ghee or beef tallow. That would be a good step. I can tell you I am not eating beef liver, so I would tend to have steak. Maybe I'd have some ham. This morning I had 2 scrambled eggs with onions, ham, and what else did I put in there? Cheese. Okay. And then I had some other things that were not carnivore-ish, but this is how I'm building my plate. Definitely I'm getting more protein in the morning. Lunch could be grilled salmon and some ground lamb or ground beef with a little bit of feta cheese. And you could have an optional arugula or plain salad with just some olive oil and a little bit of vinegar. Remember, we're really trying to transition to our homemade dressing so that we get away from those yucky oils. A snack could be some bone broth, a boiled egg, a spoonful of Greek yogurt, or you could just attach that after lunch to have dessert, which is what I tend to do. I really try to not snack because it just, again, takes your body out of, digestion and healing, or sorry, it takes it out of healing, and then the energy has to go back to digesting, and it also can affect your blood sugars. Mind you, when you're eating carnivore diet, it will not affect your blood sugars as much as if you had a carby carb. For dinner, you could have a ribeye steak, any steak. Flank steak is on the cheaper end of that. Some sauteed mushrooms in butter and a little cheese. Okay? Not too bad. It's flavorful, it's very nutrient dense, it's super satisfying, and you will realize how much of your hunger is coming from boredom or social or deserving, again, those hedonistic traits that I talked about. And if you want variety, I've got you covered with a 3-day rotating plan. So go to my website. I will put the link to the plan and you can click on that and I will send that to you. All right. So I've gone over a day, but if you want to see what 3 days look like, I will send that to you. So here's the deal. Boop, boop, boop. Carnivore isn't for everyone, but for postmenopausal or even some women going through the perimenopausal journey, okay, it could really help you with some gut issues, inflammation, stubborn weight, and it can be powerful. It can be a very powerful short-term reset. I will say I have tried to do it, and it is challenging because I do like some salads and some vegetables, and I like my carbs. And what I have learned from myself is that I will do this. Actually, I did do this last year, more in the winter where there are much less, gorgeous blueberries and raspberries and just strawberries, just some beautiful fruit that we have out right now. So this could be something that you just plant in your mind and do in the fall and the winter. Start slowly, listen to your body, and don't be afraid to modify, right? So pulse in for maybe a meal a day. Maybe it becomes 3 days a week, 2 days a week. Pulse back out, pulse back in, and see how you feel. And they've done studies. I cannot remember the name of the fellow, but he was talking about it, saying he did 90 days of carnivore and he tested his microbes before and after. And that 90-day was really a mark when there was a lot of things like during this transition had changed. But after the 90 days, he was like, I think I'm going to start to pulse in and pulse out just to get those different microbes in your belly. When you really just start to feel your energy, the bloating, when you really start to pay attention to your body, it is quite fascinating what it is asking for, okay? Or the reactions you are having to food, and then you deciding if you want to do something about it or not. And it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be so extreme. You can have fun with this. Okay. So thank you for turning into Menopause Made Easy with Tanya. If today's episode helped you rethink about food, rethink food and your gut health, please share it with a friend or family member. Leave a review. And one of the free ways you can help me is by leaving a review, giving it 5 stars, sharing it with a friend. I'd really appreciate that. And if you want the 3-day Carnivore-ish Meal Plan, head over to the show notes. I will put the links below and you can grab it from me. All right. So until next time, stay curious, stay strong, and trust your gut. Literally, it's talking to you. Have a beautiful day.